So, day 3 in Perth, we started the morning with O Coffee, whatever it is, in Freo. They do good, man. Yeah, we're suitably impressed. It was hell funny. I rocked up there. It was like 6:45. The door was open. They were setting up, and I stuck my head in. I was like, "Hey guys, listen." And the guy's like, "Hey bro," like typical hipster shit. "Hey bro, yeah, dude, like we're not open, man." And I was like, that's all good, dude. I know you're open at 7. Can I just place an order now? I have it like ready for pickup at 7. He's like, uh, yeah, yeah. I was like, boy, I want to give you my money. Just take it, all right? Like, fuck. Like, why do you have to make this hard? So yeah. Anyway, that was funny. So yeah, so we did that. Shot back, and we had a pretty big day ahead of us. We had a few meetings lined up. We were headed to catch up with our developer as well. So that was going to be a pretty big, significant investment of time. So we wanted to get on the road pretty early. So we headed to Geisha to go get some food. So we jumped in the car and went and got that. First things first, so we know we needed to tuck out the kids. So we headed down to Kwinana, of all places. I know it's a bit of a drive. And went to this adventure park. It's called the Kwinana Adventure Park. It is brilliant. Absolute one of the best parks I think I've ever been to. I like Wellington Square. Personally, it's way better than Wellington Square. And it's funny, like, I would never usually be so well versed in the world of West Australian parks or playgrounds, but here we are. No, it was really great. So, again, same thing as when we were in Cunderdin, I was like flinging the kids on the flying fox, and the kids frothed at hey, like I'd just grab them at the bottom of the flying fox and swing them straight back up, and they never had to get off. They were just straight up and down, and they just like cackling with laughter. They loved it so much. It was really cool. Beck and I as well, we made a decision after the first day that we wouldn't take our books with us. That we, and again, with respect to, not recording any of the podcasts, not, not taking our books with us. I barely had my phone on me, all these things. I just intentionally didn't want distraction because, when I'm with Beck or I'm in a meeting or I'm with my kids, but whatever it is, I'm wherever I am, I want to be totally there. And it's something that I'm really having to work on. And, it's something that has come up with Nero a few times around like, the role of the conscious mind is to make decisions and be present. And too often we can not make decisions and we get either caught up in the past or the future, and so your mind isn't even getting the opportunity to do what it really needs to do. And so I've been really intentional, especially while we're away with the family and or away for work, to make sure that we're being present in doing what we're doing and using our time effectively. And I'm actually really excited for the next few months and stuff around seeing like focus and I was going to say productivity. Productivity is such like a broadly shit word. But yeah, around focus and stuff improve. So yeah, at this park, man, they've got this whole like water play area, and the kids just cut sick, man. They got soaked, like soaked, and to the point that they had like this waterfall coming out of the wall. Literally just stood under there and it literally just drenched all their clothes, and I was like, oh. So anyway, they luckily my wife is an absolute legend, and packed all the kids a change of clothes, which is she's so good. I love her so much. So yeah, kids were saved, which was very nice, but they were cold, and that's fine, So anyway, so they had heaps and heaps of fun, and yeah, we spent quite a bit of time there, which was really great. So one of the things that came up with respect to fitness, like I was observing the kids, and they just don't get tired, and I kind of like started thinking about it, like I remember when I was in my early teens and tweens, if you will, but even like as a young adult, like you're often running or walking or riding a bike, and prior to that, well, actually, let's just kind of like timeline back. It's like, okay, well, as an adult, you usually get caught up in life and work and relationships and wanting to be efficient and whatever, right? And then prior to that, you were, gymming or competitive or competing in a sport, and there are exceptions to the rule, but this is for the most part when I look at most people I know. So you were competing in a sport or, gymming or whatever it is, okay? Prior to that, you didn't have a car, so you were riding your bike everywhere, running everywhere, walking, or and you were like getting into sport. Prior to that, you were just playing with your friends all the time, non-stop, and just running around and chasing. And it was, you kick the ball and play the footy and throw the frisbee and play hide and seek and tag and all that sort of stuff. And you'd be exhausted and sweaty, like it was exercise, genuine exercise. Prior to that, you're learning how to play. Prior to that, you're learning how to walk, you're learning how to move, how to hang on monkey bars, how to flip and turn and hold and dangle and climb and stress out and all that sort of shit, right? So it's and then like right up to like tummy time. And so it's like all this time, like as a kid, you're really never unfit. Like you've just from the moment, like Sterling's like two months old. And he's just moving his body constantly, just like these ones, legs, arms, the whole lot, and then soon enough he'll be on his belly, and he's going to be holding himself up and looking around and all that sort of stuff. Then soon enough he's going to want to be crawling, and he'll be crawling everywhere. Then soon enough he'll be wanting to walk and using new muscles. Then he'll be running, and then it will be climbing and riding a bike, and all this, and he's just going to be like he's never going to be unfit. Unless we make him unfit, but the default is to be fit. So like this whole way along, like you've got fitness in your life as a default, and then life happens, romance happens, laziness happens. You buy into some bullshit lies about what people begin to think about you and what you think about yourself, and create this like negative identity or whatever, and all that sort of shit. And then all of a sudden, you just let those bits go, right? And yes, I'm obviously talking a little bit about myself here as well. So you're like letting those bits go, and it's like as an adult you kind of realize that you've lost the thing that you took for granted, and now you're like, oh fuck, now I have to get it back. And I think that one of the arguments I had for so long is it's just like, well, like fitness has to have a function other than just existing. And if I'm going to go hunt a bear and hunt and gather and whatever, then it makes total sense. Yeah, absolutely. If my job is to literally defend the village from the other village, yeah, I totally get that. I'm going to be an absolute weapon. But if my job is to sit at a desk, hard to justify. Like I'm gonna go fight the bad guys on the computer. Like, yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, so it was a cool realization, being like, okay, like we almost got to get back to a baseline to be able to then start building from. And you look at people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sam Sulek and all these guys on social media at the moment, and like Sam is an absolute monster, and he is 21. But like at the age of 21, I was absolutely letting my fitness wane. Not fit. I was lucky to be riding on the coattails of the effort I'd put in in the years prior. Like I spent a lot of time getting really fit and spending a lot of time at the gym, and then that kept me in good stead for a long time. But yeah, anyway, so. Yeah. Anyway, so that was kind of cool. I shared this with Beck. I was like, hey, like here's this realization I've had, and she's like, yeah, no, you're right. It makes sense. So it was just kind of cool to be like, okay, like we've got to get back to this baseline, this default level of fitness before we can really focus on that. And it doesn't mean that you're not as ambitious around it, but it's just kind of realizing, okay, well, this is what needs to happen next. So, yeah, it's almost like you got to gain back what you had all along. So after that, we headed to Blacklist. So Blacklist are the guys we get all our coffee from. So good, man. Yeah, they're brilliant. I love Blacklist. So yeah, caught up with them for a bit, and I think that it's really important to have good relationships with your roasters and like your suppliers, hey, because they just they've got the finger on the pulse across the whole industry. And it's really cool to be able to see everything that is happening at a really high level, and kind of use that knowledge to then go, okay, like what's the industry doing? And yeah, so that was really great. After that, we took the kids to Wellington Square, and today, well, that day, both Beck and I looked at each other about 2 p.m. looked at each other and we just like, man, it feels like it should be 5 o'clock. So good. And it's just like the day is dragged on in the best way possible. And for the most part, I think that it's because we're just really, really present and really, really intentional with our time and our focus. So that was really great. I think after the adventure park this morning, Wellington Square was a bit of a, like there's something about nature. There's something about being in amongst trees, plants, bush, water. And Wellington Square is great, but it's very, I want to say clinical, where it's like really like, modernist minimalism and it's lost a bit of soul. Like it loses some of its soul. Whereas this adventure park was like right in the middle of the bush, trees like you've never seen, water, everything's made out of like that treated. When I say treated timber, it doesn't sound right, but like logs, and it's freaking awesome. Hey, so yeah, Beck, Beck is so creative. She's so creative. She thought, well, why don't we all jump on the cat? It's a free bus. Jump on the bus with the kids, and they freaking loved it. So we rode around and everything else, and so Beck, she's such a trooper. Hey, she was like, well, how about why don't you you jump off at this next stop? We'll circle back to Wellington Square. You jump off, jump in the car, and go pick us up from Fremantle. And I was like, that sounds great. So then they jumped on the train. What, unbeknownst to me, Beck, like, the girls, she's managing 4 young children with, one of them strapped to her chest who's sleeping, and Eliza, they've not really been on escalators, so like Eliza's shitting bricks, not sure how to do it, and then the other kids at the doors are closing, and Beck's running in and trying to like, it's just a whole lot, like nearly left kids behind on the station, and it was carnage. Nonetheless, she did really, really well, yeah. She's so great. So yeah, so I went and picked him up at in Freo on the train, and so we jumped on the Ferris wheel with them, and they loved that. And the guys at the Ferris wheel actually they were really good. They were really good. They looked after us really well. I think we usually do 3 laps or something, and they did 4, and and they're really engaging with the kids, which was really, really nice. And I always try and make sure I let the kids pay, and and get them used to like engaging and all that sort of stuff, and just even like holding money and using money, and yeah, it's been really cool. So so we did the Ferris wheel, and we played some games up there, and where we'd like try and like get the attention of kids and play of other people and play I Spy, and it was good fun. Yeah, I love being with my kids. I love being with my family. I've been really conscious recently that I know a lot of the things that I default to is my kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. And I kind of don't really like how Beck isn't the first thing I think of. And I know people might go, oh, yeah, no, but your kids and rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, yeah, but my wife, like, I've united my life with her. And I want her to be my first thought. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, side note. Yeah, so anyway, so we headed to Bib Tucker because it's just around the corner for dinner. Always a phenomenal food. So we sat down, and the kids were exhausted by this point, and Beck and I just wanted to debrief the day and kind of just go over the things from the business, and so we did that. We chucked Moana on for the kids, and that was so funny. It's like, let's say the restaurant's maybe 80% capacity, and kids are just there and like, singing Moana, and we're like, girls, shh, shh, and Lexi's like, she loves Moana, quoting the movie the whole way along. We're like, Lex, just watch the movie, babe, like. So no, it was good. It was really nice to like have good food and debrief the day with Beck and all that. So came home, and Lex could hear, because obviously we caught a frog not too long ago at our house, and Lex could hear a frog, and she was like, I want to try and catch it. I reckon I must have got within about this far of it, and it got dead quiet, and I was just laying on the ground under these hedges with my hands there, just waiting for it to make another noise, and I just kind of pounced in its general direction. But unless it's actually out and about, you're not going to see it. So yeah, went looking for the frog with Lex and couldn't find it. And then Tilly hopped out of the shower and she's like, "Dad, I want to try and find a frog." I was like, "Okay, let's go out here." And her imagination was running wild. She was like, "Dad, I'm scared." I'm like, "Why? Why are you scared?" "Oh, because I think a big big frog might come and get me." I'm like, "Babe, what are you talking about? You know, like where?" She's like, "Oh, from up there. Like it's gonna." Which is there was another like house above us. I was like, "Honey," I was like, "I love your imagination." It kind of had to like stop and explain imagination to her, and she was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Listen, like it's not really true. Like it's a thought, and your thought is it's great. I love your imagination and stuff, but that's not a true thought. Like it's great to imagine things, but then you need to just let them go." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Weirdly, that worked somehow. So cool. So yeah. So anyway, put all the kids to bed again. Made up all. Lexi asked me for some more equations, so I did like another page and a half, I think it was, of just maths equations for her. So good. And the sweetest thing happened. God. We're sitting on the couch, Beck and I, and we heard the door shut. And we're both like, we looked and we could see the Tilly and Alliance's bedroom. We're like, "It's got to be Lexi." And then very, very sheepishly, I see her come out of the hallway, kind of. She's like, "Dad," and I was like, "Hey, babe, like, what are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, Dad, I made this for you." She went and she made me this whole like activity sheet, and it had like a crossword, and I'll see if I can find a photo. Man, it was so sweet. It had like crossword and all these. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it had like a connect the dots thing, and like a little. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Just trying to see if that'll. Come on. Ah, dude. There it is. Oh, you can barely see it. Ah, it says Alexis made that games or something at the top. You see there's like a little like maze in the middle there. Had to draw a box and then connect the dots on the right, and like a little word sleuth down the bottom. These are the part of being a father that are just like, you can't. It's just the innocence of kids, man. Like, so like she sheepishly like walks out. She's like, "Oh, Dad, like I made this for you." And she like, and I was like, "Yeah, baby, come here." And she like excitedly read me through it. She's like, "You got to do this and connect the dots, and then when you draw, come up with your picture, like none of them quite work, right? Like, but they're so good. Like even like the crossword, not the crossword. Is it crossword? Yeah, whatever. No, not a crossword. Sorry, the word sleuth. She was like, words, as long as they were next to each other, she was like, "You like this," and I was like, "Yo, where the fuck is this word?" But it was so cool. So yeah. So anyway, that was really really sweet. So Beck and I are able to kind of debrief, and we then after we debriefed the day and kind of planned for tomorrow and stuff, then we chucked on a movie. I think it was some sort of Kevin Hart movie, whatever. Beck was knackered, fell asleep, and I finished reading my book and whatever. And well, no, I didn't finish reading my book. I read some more of my book, and that was that. Yeah, so that was day 3 in Perth. Lovely.